the other, so what I'm gonna hand out to you now has a bunch of components to it. This has a keyboard reference page for you. You could attach the staple if you want, it was just easier for me to keep in like concise packets. So you can remove the staple if you want, and you are also, at any time, the reason I have these really nice desks is for a class like music theory. So you can use those desk pieces if you'd like, you can bring them up behind you. You can actually have multiple if you'd like. If you wanna like arrange the chairs so that you have mega desk, like that's fine. All right, the first page of this is labeled scrap. You can write on this, you can color on it, you can do whatever you want with this. But what I handed you is a paper version of what instrument? A piano, right, or a keyboard. Not just a piano, there are lots of other keyboard instruments, but it's this is gonna be a really good tool for you moving forward as you take notes on things, as you think about music, like how it's constructed. If you turn the page over, you see the exact same thing, except there's no note names attached to it. I promise you that every test I give to you, you will get this. You will get a blank keyboard if you ever want to reference it. Some people find it helpful, some people don't. It all actually kind of depends. So one of the things I wanted to ask you yesterday, but we just ended so perfectly, what instruments do you guys play? What instruments do you play?
I played the stand-up bass for a while.
Stand-up bass for a while. Okay, great.
I play guitar, dobro, banjo, trumpet, and ukulele.
Good, and you sing too.
And
That's really important, yeah, okay. Like that counts as a musical instrument.
I've played the recorder before.
The recorder, right, third grade was a good year for you, huh? It's funny because we will talk about the recorder later on. It is a fire-breathing instrument if you know how to manage it. It's not just a torture device for third grade music students. Okay, so you guys come into this with a little bit different, each one of you has a different musical background, so you might think of this differently. When I took high school music theory and when I took theory in college, I would close my eyes and physically do this. Think of a keyboard in front of me because that's what I'm used to. That's the lens that I see music theory through. You're gonna see it based on your own perception. So the banjo, for example, has frets. So going up a half step on a banjo, if you pluck a note on a banjo, right, and then you go one fret up, same string, you get a half step. On a keyboard, like the one you have in front of you, if I'm on a white key, I don't know, let's just say C, and I go to the key immediately above it, it looks like C hashtag or C sharp or D lowercase b, which really means D flat. You don't have to know that yet. But that's what I think of. So when I go up a half step on C, I'm imaging the keyboard in my mind going from a white key up to a black key. That's what I think about half steps. You don't have to know what that is yet. The point that I want to make to you is that's how I think of music theory, is through the keyboard, but you are welcome to think of it however you want. If it's useful to you, use the keyboard diagram. If it's not useful for you, ditch it and come up with a way that works for you. That's the beauty of education, is that the way that I think of things might be different than the way that you think of things. And I want to know how you think of things, because that makes me a better teacher. That way next year's theory crops come in, and if they don't think the same way I do, maybe I could remember back to how Robert McCall thought about it. And then oh yeah, I remember Robert McCall taught me this cool thing. He thinks of it like this, and then it might click for that person. So you thinking differently makes me a better teacher. So I want to know how you guys think. All right, today we are going to review third grade general music. Where were you in third grade? Where did you go to school in third grade?
Orchard Park Elementary.
OP Elementary, perfect.
Nativity and Mary.
Nativity and Mary.
Pinehurst.
Pinehurst, that's great. I went to a Catholic school, it's closed now. And my third grade music class really just consisted of oh, here are the mass songs we're going to sing on Friday, and that was music. So I got gypped out of it. I bet all three of you probably had a better experience than I did. So with that in mind, you'll have no problem with this. Before we get started, I want you to find a blank piece of scrap paper. You can do it on, I don't know, actually, let me give you some computer paper. here. You know, we're coming up to like, oh, that was a mess. Here, I don't do this anymore. You can take this one. I want you to take that blank sheet of paper, and I want you to write me, like write out a song that you probably know called Happy Birthday. All right, write it on a piece of paper so that in 100 years from now, that music theory student can like pick it up and can sing Happy Birthday. By that point, we probably won't be singing Happy Birthday, it'll be a different song. So like, you have to transmit Happy Birthday to somebody 100 years from now. So take some time and do that. We'll give you 30 more seconds. All right, hand me what you got. Hand it in. Let's see. I'm not judging you. All right, maybe a little bit. All right, so fast forward 100 years. Here's how they sang Happy Birthday in the year of our Lord, 20 and 23. They sang it like this. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear, happy birthday to you. That was this person's. Next person, like almost exactly the same, except happy birthday, dear person's name, happy birthday to you. Last one, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear, dash, 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 happy birthday to you. Okay, so was that, now we're back in 2023, was that an accurate rendition of how we would sing happy birthday to people? No, what's it missing?
Notes.
Well, I mean notes, but we don't really know what that is. You know, it's missing noise, like
Like expression.
expression. Well, okay, here, I'll do it with expression. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Like, there's expression there, but does that mean it's, no, it's missing something else. It's actually missing a couple things.
Song portion.
It's the song portion of it, right? Yeah, you guys just wrote down poems for me with like a little bit of wiggle room for somebody's name. Okay, it's missing the happy birthday to you, like the voice rising and falling. Isn't it kind of missing that? How might you, just, you don't have to do it now because I have your work. How might you like display that on this? Arrows pointing up and arrows pointing down. Okay, I think that's like certainly a little bit better. Might not be that exact because it doesn't tell you like how high or how low to sing it. So, you know, happy, arrow pointing up, birthday, like that like follows the direction, but you know, it's pretty inexact. What else is it would I need, right? Because let's say that there was a way I could get the pitch, the rising and the falling exactly right. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear so-so, happy birthday to you. What is it missing? Do I need to demonstrate it again? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Robert, happy birthday to you.
The spacing.
The spacing? Like, aren't some of those parts, like some of those syllables, like held out? Happy birthday to you. How about that one? Right? And aren't some of them like quicker? Like, isn't the first word like a little bit skippy? Happy birthday, right? Isn't it ba da da? Like, one note is a little bit longer, one note's a little bit shorter. Ba ba da 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 da. How might you like put that on here? Maybe some lines. Some lines are shorter, some lines are longer. Yeah, maybe. Hey, listen, you know, we just problem solved, like music. Now let's say that you had something, we'll go over the history of music. Like we're gonna start probably next week, I think. It kind of depends what you guys wanna do. We're gonna start with a little bit of this problem solving. Let's say if you had something way more important than happy birthday. What if somehow I actually had a song delivered from Jesus Christ himself? Okay, suspend disbelief a little bit, but let's say that like Christ himself descended to earth and sang music for me. Would you think that music would be really important? Maybe even sacred? I mean, I would think so. Wouldn't I have like a sacred obligation to get it right myself and then help other people to get it exactly right, to not piss God off? That's the problem that people ran into, all right? And the solution is complicated, but I'm gonna teach it to you now. So, like, you've seen this, you've all been in chorus, you've all taken third grade music at some point. This is kind of how we solve those things. We're not gonna solve the duration issue, how some notes are shorter and long. We're actually not gonna solve that for a long time. We're gonna worry about like pitch things. Not just if the pitch, the sound is like higher or the pitch is lower, but like, well, how much higher? Is there a way to like exactly measure how much higher and exactly reproduce it so we don't piss God off and like change his music? Make sense so far? Everybody with me? Great. So I'm not gonna teach you how the system was invented today. I'm just gonna teach you like how we use it already right now, and then like sort of fill in the blanks as the year goes along. So turn to the very first page after the keyboard. It should say something like treble, clef, and staff. Is that what we have here? All right, let me introduce you to the staff. This is it. 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 spaces in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. You already know that notes can go above the line and below the line, and sometimes you would start adding lines in on your own, but I don't want you to worry about that for right now. This is the staff. Good, everybody with me so far? Nod your head and smile. Look at exercise number 1. I'm going to teach you something called the treble clef. A clef is a fancy word that just means what are the note names on these lines, what are the note names on these spaces. So here's what I want to show you, and you get to practice this on your own shortly. Soon, you're going to take a pencil and make a line that goes above and below, intersects at all 90-degree angles. Soon, you will take your pencil, making a backward C that connects the top of the line to the middle line. Soon, you will continue down and spiral around that second line from the bottom. So now I want you to do this with me. Like you can see how like they give you some space to practice this. So your first move is a vertical line that extends a little bit above and a little bit below. Your next move, a backward C from the top to the middle line. Your third move is to continue that backward C and sort of encircle that, that line second from the bottom. If you are feeling fancy, if you think that you are an excellent artist, you may even give a swirl down here. Whenever I write music, I never use that swirl. I know that my artistic self does not lie in how beautiful that looks. Do you guys want to see that again, or do you think you can practice this? What do you think? You're good? So write in a bunch of those until you run out of space for exercise number 1. And it's really important that your last step is to like encircle that line second from the bottom. But not the space. You're kind of encircling the space. That one is good because you encircle the line. show you why in a second. Just give me a thumbs up when you run out of room for practicing. Okay, my people. This is called a treble clef. Clef means what are the note names going to be? You'll see that in a little bit. Treble. Does anybody know what treble means? That's what happens when you get detention. You're in big trouble. Come on. Nothing? All right. Well, there's some pity laughs in there. You know what treble actually means? It means higher pitched. So you might imagine that, like as a singer, I think of this, like, I don't know, maybe the women are using this symbol. Maybe that's more important to them. Might not be as important to me because I'm a bass and I don't really sing that high. There's another name for this that I'll tell you in a little bit. But now we get to the third grade acronyms. Did you know, from the bottom up, every good boy does fine? Did you know that? You knew that already? Every good, great. I'm really just trying to like make sure that you guys have a solid foundation. I'm not going too fast for anybody, because some people, you don't have to know this to take music theory. That means that any note that appears on one of those lines corresponds to that name. So, if I have a note here, what would it be? What is it? E. Great. How about up here? D. How about down here? G. Right. Okay. How about up here? F. Okay. There you go. See. So if you can remember the acronym, every good boy does fine. Then like you're golden. You know this. That is not the only place that one could put notes. Not just on the line. How about in between the lines? Did you know that you could put notes there? You should have, because you were all in chorus for at least the past couple of years, at least the last year. So, all right, here is the acronym for in between the lines. It's just this. FACE. F-A-C-E, spells face. Did you know that already? Now you do. F-A-C-E spells face. That means if I have a note that's here, what note is that? How about up here?
E.
Careful. How about here?
D.
D, that one is does. It can either be in the space or on the line. I'm gonna warn you now that like people that have really poor writing who might do one of these, this is the bane of my existence. Like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that is. That's a sin against nature. The line either has to go like right through the middle, or there can't be any line at all. It has to like fit perfectly in between. That's just like good handwriting. Very famously, a composer that had great handwriting was that guy. That's Mozart underneath the American flag. He was actually Austrian, but we've colonized him and now he's American. A composer that very famously had god-awful handwriting, and sometimes people didn't know what he meant, was that guy. He didn't have time to write neatly. Like, that was just his personality. So do your best. There you go. Now that you know every good boy does fine and face, we have the entire musical alphabet like written out. So every good boy does fine in alphabetical order. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's it. It just repeats. The musical alphabet is just that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Done. It never goes to H. Definitely never makes it to V. All right. So you should know that going in. The other name for this type of clef is a G clef. Why might it be called a G clef? What is like specifically circled and twirled? The G line. That's right. Every good. There we go. The G line is That's why, if say, I don't know, on a midterm or something, I say, hey, can you guys write me a treble clef? And you do one of these? Sure thing. Boom, wrong. I've just circled the B line. There's no such thing as a B clef. It kind of looks like a treble clef, right? But noobs do that. You won't do that. You know better now. Any questions on the treble clef? Here's what I'd like you to do. Look at exercise number 2. All they want you to do is, like, write in the note names. Everything that we just did. So go ahead and give exercise 2 a try. Good? All right. Let's just do this like popcorn style. You know popcorn style? Like, I'm not going to call on somebody, but somebody has to answer. So, all right, I'll do the first one. C. Next one.
G.
Good.
F.
Yep.
B.
Good. Keep going.
F.
Yep.
E.
Mm-hmm.
E.
Mm-hmm.
A.
Keep going. Anybody?
D. C.
Perfect. So, you want to hear that again? G, F, B, F, E, E, A, D, C. Good? How do we do, Robert?
I was confused on the, I think it was, yeah, the fourth last one, E.
1,
But
2.
at first, I got it.
Okay, but you got it now?
Yeah.
That's great. For this next one, you actually get to draw in your own. Use those kind of ovals, right, they're like those little fat ovals, and make sure that they sit either on the line that you want, so the line goes right through the middle, or they're like perfectly in the space. It says write it 2 places if you can, but I could just take 1 place. So go ahead and do that now if you haven't done it already. Exactly what you do. Well, you can switch out with the lefty desk next class if you want. I don't know you're a lefty, but I have like 7 lefty desks. Up to you if you want. All right, you all, it all looks like you know what you're doing. I appreciate that. And I think you guys got them all right. So, congratulations. You know kind of how to read music already. I want to, with the time that I have, like, do you guys have to think about the acronyms when you do this? And it's okay if you do. You have to think every good boy does, for a little bit. Like any language, and I am convinced that music is more like a language than people realize. You know, like I look at, I don't know, the flag up there. The beatings will continue until morale improves. I don't have to think about, like, that second word, B-E-A-T-I-N-G-S, like, like, I don't have to sound it out anymore. I used to, and you did too when you were in kindergarten, 1st grade, right? But you become what's called fluent with it. You just put the sounds together to the point where you don't have to think about the sound that it makes. You think more towards the meaning. That's what this is. You are learning how to sound out words right here, more or less. Like, I was just working on this, kind of for fun. Like, you might not know what any of this means in here. There's a lot of ink on this page. I read this, and just like if I'm reading a book, I know what it's supposed to sound like. Like I know, like there's a minor chord construction. I have an idea of what that's supposed to sound like because I'm able to audiate it. My brain is able to like produce something out of it. In the same way that your brain, I bet, as you read a book quietly, has like a voice that reads it to you. Is that right? It's amazing the brain can do that. So we start with the basics. You sound out words, and then you can read like bigger words, and then all of a sudden you're fluent and you're reading Tolstoy. This is the very beginning of it. And we're not, because we're short in periods, we're not gonna go on with it today. We're gonna continue with this packet next class, and then we're gonna build towards like kind of a check-in assignment. That should be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna put this up on YouTube, and you guys can study it if you're bored on Sunday afternoon.